Hey, what do you say? I almost said it was March 31st, but then I looked and it's not. So, it's April 1st. April Fool's Day. Don't fall for it. I've never been good at pulling pranks, but some people are. Anyway, so April Fool's Day. Brother. I don't know. I should be in bed. I should be going to bed. I know one day I will have to change my habits. But when I go to bed early, I wake up early. I went to bed early last night, and I woke up at 1:11. It was 1:11. So that's pretty interesting, huh? Those are angel numbers. I just don't know my angel numbers. I know 1111 is something good. My numbers have always been, first it was 3, and then 3. I mean, every time I turned around, the clock was turning to a 3. My eyes were just probably sensitive to it, just picked it up, but it was constantly. When I went and started living with Dad for a little bit there, I noticed that he remembered my numbers, because you know what he did? He had these TV dinner type things that the Meals on Wheels people would bring. And there was a certain way to fix them. The instructions were there. I think it was to cook them 5 or 6 minutes or something like that. But what he would do is he would put it in the microwave for 3:33. Okay? Then when 3:33 got past, he would open it up, and there was a cellophane thing on the top, but he would open that up and cut up the meat and stuff and stir it all around and season it just right and everything, and then he would put it back in the microwave for 3:33. And that's pretty true, because he did that because of me. I know he did. That was not the instructions on the package. But so I find that interesting, and I find it pretty cool, because I know it came from me. Silly little girl that I are. So, I'm supposed to be in bed, and instead of going to bed, I decided that I would indulge, and that I'm also being a bad girl because I'm having a Pepsi. And if I'm going to do a video, I'm going to be staying up for a little while. So, bad, like Leroy Brown. He's the baddest man in the whole damn town. Well, that's not me. I'm not bad. I mean, I've made some bad choices. I've done some bad things. But we just got to remember, or we've got to figure it out, that we are here to learn. And we need to have what they call empathy for our fellow man. And man is woman and man. It's not just man. Mankind. We all belong to the human race. And mankind is what we are. It's interesting that the word kind is in there. Now we just need to learn how to be it. Anyway, I don't know. I guess I should know. I've been distracted. I've been really quite distracted. We have to figure out what we're supposed to be doing and do it. It's raining outside, and I'm sitting beside my window so I can hear it pretty good. Pitter pattering. It's not pouring, but earlier tonight there was thunder and lightning. It scared the dog. Dogs have such good ears. They don't like that noise. Don't blame them. So, list. What doth I want to talk about? Do I want to read? What do you guys want? As you can tell, reading is not my forte. Telling about things. If I know something to tell, anyway, that's my forte. But I do think I'm a storyteller. The problem is people can't listen long enough to get to the story. I mean, you know, it's like Jesus taught in parables, okay? He did that for a few reasons. And he explained that, okay? I'm not just saying that. He explained why he did. And then I also know that when you're trying to get someone to understand what you're saying, you got to put them there. You kind of you gotta tell them the story, the roundabout. That's me. I'm a roundabout. And it's hard to follow me. I know it is. So you gotta follow me. You just gotta take it in. And then when I get all done, oh, that's what she meant. But that's the way Jesus was too. Okay. So he taught people. There were all kinds of people hanging out. Okay, meaning of different cultures. And there were those who were, well, after a while anyway, there were those that were trying to find him. He escaped. He walked right through the crowds. I mean, I figure he just like blinded them and away he went, you know. But that's one of those things where, and I've said it recently, he that hath an ear, let him hear. Okay, those who know, then they'll understand. But those who don't know will not know what the heck he's talking about. What does he mean? Well, after he would get through teaching, he would go and he would tell his apostles what he meant. And that's in the book. So it's like a cheater's guide. If you want to know what he meant, it's in the scriptures, okay? But not everybody's going to take time to read those things. And back then, they were being written. And they weren't even being written yet. Some of them were written afterwards, you know. So they're going by their memory. Their memory. You know, my hair's all lovely. So I don't have an example. I have to go back to the book. If I knew my scriptures better, I'd know where I wanted to go to teach, or where I could go and find an example real quick, you know. That's where those scripture chase things, those are nice. They do that in seminary. You mark your books all up, and you have a thing called a scripture chase. And I don't know what they do, but then they send everybody out looking for the scripture. Boom, 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 boom. Who can get it first, you know? But anyway, so what are some of the parables? The fig tree was a parable. He's talking about he's talking about the seasons, the change, the signs of the times. That's what it is. So he's like saying that, you know, when the fig tree, I'm not sure what all it said, because in the beginning, you know, she's going to she's going to have her little buds, and then there's going to be leaves, and then, so it's like in the buds, the buds is in the spring, and then you've got the summer, and then when the leaves shed off, that's the fall. And so he's saying that you follow the signs of the times. And then if you know, if you know, if you've studied what the prophets have put out, you know, and back then they didn't have books for everybody to have. I don't know how to describe what I'm trying to say, but you kind of relied on other people to tell you what's in the book. I guess that's the same as today with the preachers. Understanding, you know, so we rely on them to tell us what's in there, and we believe them, but they're not always right. I mean, really, there's a lot of guys out there teaching. It doesn't sound right the way I want to say it. Teaching falsehoods, okay? Because they're not right. I don't know how to. When I was still with Joe, he spent a lot of time listening to certain preachers, and he got all caught up in it, and they were wrong, man, and I just couldn't get it through to his little head. I don't know how to even explain it, but we couldn't even get on the same page. And he believed these pastors, or I don't even know, maybe you can call him a scholar. So I couldn't get through to his head on several things. We just, anyway, the parables. That is a parable right there. And I imagine you might, maybe you're not, but maybe you're listening, Joe. The virgins and the lamps and the oil. That is a parable. It's not literal. Okay? He's telling a story. And in this story, the virgins have been told that the bridegroom is coming. They have been told to fill their lamps. And not only to fill their lamps, they had extra. Okay? I didn't realize that part. But they had like an extra, you know, pouch or whatever they stored oil in. So that not only did they have their lamp filled to the brim and they could have it burning, but if they, you know, they were waiting and waiting and waiting, they could fill it back up. Okay? So I think I might have part of the scenario wrong, but the point is the story is the same. I think there were 10 virgins. 5 had their lamps full. and 5 did not. And when it came time for him to go, then the ones that didn't have any or didn't have enough were trying to get it from the ones who did. And they're going, no, we went, we took, and we prepared, we got ready. And you're not getting it. We're taking it. We're going to the wedding. I don't know if it's a wedding, but it's a parable. You guys have to remember that. And a parable is a story so that you can understand what he's trying to say. And what he is saying is, when Jesus comes again, the second coming, you need to be ready. And in order to be ready, you need to have lived a good life. You need to be living the gospel. The golden rule. Treat others the way you want to be treated. Do good deeds. These are the things. This is the oil. This is the thing you fill up your lamp with, is your good deeds. You understand? I think metaphor is the right word, but I'm not sure. Because I hear that where it says metaphorically. But anyway, the point is, in order to have your lamp burning, for Jesus not to pass you over, you need to be taking care of business, okay? This is Mary Lou's version. But yeah, the main thing is living your life like Christ. What would Jesus do? When he comes again, you have to be ready. And if you're ready, you'll be pulled up into the sky to meet him. All those who are worthy will meet him and his angels in the sky. And then there's going to be mass destruction going on down below. Okay. Did you get the correlation? I mean, I did try to tell you. Sometimes even when someone tries to tell us, we can't hear it. Okay. So the point is, the virgins that didn't have enough oil and were trying to get it from the other ones, they got left out in the cold. But they did have the chance. They were told to get ready. So I did find a parable, because that's one of them. The fig tree is a parable, but I don't know them all. So, but the reason he did was for privacy, for one. So those who were privy understood. And they might not have understood because it was explained later to the apostles. I mean, when you watch The Chosen and you watch other shows, the people just can't get over how he teaches. I've never heard of such things. I need to find out where those parables are. That's what I should be reading. See, I was reading those letters, and I think those letters are a little bit deeper than I thought they were going to be. Okay. I'm having a hard time understanding some of it. But I do. That's where I would want to put my time and effort. To begin with, if I was a beginner, I would be trying to find out about Jesus. And Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John are when he's here. And if those letters are what I think, I mean, if all those different books after the Acts has to do with letters that are written, they talk weird. I don't know how to explain that. I do remember that when I was doing all that studying up on that mountain, it was Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and the Acts. And I probably did go over Revelation. However, Revelation is hard to understand too. Because they're not just, they go back and forth. They're talking about different time frames, okay? They can be talking about the past. They can be talking about right now or the future. And I'm talking about the persons who were writing it, okay? So I'm not talking about us and our current situation. However, Revelations, I'm just not quite sure. So until I know, I probably have to go back and read it again. But I already did read it on my channel. My ex-husband requested that I read Revelation, so I did. That was one of the places that we argued a lot, was over Revelation. Craziness. So, I don't know what I want to do. So I have started reading in that book too. I read 12 pages. And I just was looking in the book a little bit ago, and there's 29 pages in the first part of this book. I shouldn't complain about it being so long ago, since it was only 100 years. Because the beginning of the Book of Mormon is 2,600 years ago. So, 100 years shouldn't be bad. Okay, that's what I'm going to do, people. I'm going to just go ahead and I don't know how far I'll get, because that's what I need to do, figure that out. I got really tired after reading earlier today, so I stopped after 12 pages. So what was it that happened when I left it? They were discussing the plans that were set forth. God had just told them, you know, you guys, it's come time for you to learn some more stuff, and you have to go somewhere else to learn it. You can't stay here. I don't know that he actually said that, but it's the same. They're saying that you have to go and be tested. And anyway, I don't know if everybody had to have been there, but I have no idea how they could be. And we just won't sweat the small stuff, okay? But Jesus was the first one to say, send me. And he was giving He just wanted to do it for his Father, giving his Father all the glory. And I don't know if the whole thing was all set out in the beginning. I don't want to go back over it. I just want to keep reading. But anyway, Jesus put out a plan, and so does Satan. Lucifer, our sly, cunning brother. Supposedly he had a beautiful voice. And a third of the host of heaven went with him. I don't know what kind of a battle you would call it, but Satan wasn't really very happy. And he left, probably throwing a fit. And a third of the host of heaven went with him. So, I finished page 12. Wonder if I should read the last paragraph. I don't like to read that much more than I have to. This is then what would you, then what would Lucifer do? Question mark. He would save you from the dangers of the world, whether you would or not. He would take away any need of volition or choice on our part. Do what we would, sink as deep into sin as we could, he would save us notwithstanding, without trial, without a purging process, with all our sins upon us. And in this condition, we are expected to go on to perfection and become kings and priests unto God our Father, exercising power and dominion over our fellow creatures. Think of it. Evil would reign triumphant. Celestial order would be changed to chaos. The other said not a word. He could not answer his brother's array of arguments. All right, that was the last paragraph that I read this morning. So see, Satan put his plan out there, but he's saying, I'll make everybody come through it right. I'm not saying my right words very good, but anyway, everyone would be saved. But what he was doing is taking away our free agency to choose, which is how we make heads or tails of things. I didn't say that very well, but anyway, the point is we have to learn lessons, and we have to have free agency in order to do that. We have to have freedom of choice. You know, our government takes a lot of our freedoms away in our choices because of their rules. But I'm just saying, we came down to this earth to be tried and tested, and free agency was necessary. So maybe Satan didn't understand what he was proposing. You know, maybe he thought he was doing good. He was trying to do good or something. And then he threw a fit and got cast out and took all those spirits with him. You know, we get led down the wrong path sometimes. Anyway, I will read a little bit and we'll see what happens. So this is page 13. By the way, I don't know that I said that today, but I did look it up, and you can get this book to downloaded from Amazon, I think. My hair's a mess. And my voice is a mess. So I looked it up. I don't know if I went straight to Amazon or if I just went to like Google and did a search for Added Upon. And it popped up. Added Upon by Nephi Anderson. That's right, Nephi Anderson. Okay. All right, well, this is page 13. Dear brother, continued Holman, never before have I received such sorrow as when I saw you follow that rebellious son of morning. Henceforth, quit his company. I fear for him and his followers, but he has such power over me, Holman. His eloquence seems to hold me, and his arguments certainly convince me. But I must go, and brother, come with me to the assembly, which we are to hold. Many will be there, from far and near. Will you come? I cannot promise you, Sardis. Perhaps I may call and see what is said and done. Then they parted. Holman went to the gathering of which Sardis had spoken, and as had been initiated. Okay, that's a word I don't use. Intimated. He met many strange faces. Everywhere in the conversation, serious topics seemed to be uppermost. The singing was not as usual. The music, though always sweet, was sadder than ever before. I want to make sure I'm still up in here. And a discord seemed to have crept into the even flow of life's sweet strain. Holman had no desire to talk. He wandered from group to group with a smile for all. Sardis was in a heated discussion with some kindred spirits, but Holman did not join them. Under the beautiful spread of the trees and by the fountains sat and walked companies of sons and daughters of God. Ah, they were fair to look upon, and Holman wondered at the creations of the Father. No two were alike, yet all bore an impress of the Creator, and each had an individual beauty of his own. Strolling into an arbor of vines, Holman did not observe the fair daughter seated there until he turned to leave, and then he saw her. She seemed absorbed in thought, and her eyes rested on the shifting throngs. So that's all the people, I guess. The throngs of people. I'm trying to put that down. Okay. A sweet face and a strange one, thought he, as he went up to her and spoke. Sister, what are you thinking about? She turned and looked at him, and then and then a pleased smile overspread her face. Shall I tell you? Do I beg of you? May I sit here? He seated himself opposite. Yes, brother, sit. My thoughts had such a strange ending that I will tell you what they were. I have been sitting here looking at these many faces, both new and old, and studying their varied beauties. But none seems to me to answer for my ideal. So I have been taking a little from each face, putting all together to form another. I had just completed the composition and was looking admirably, I said that word wrong, looking admiringly at the new form when you came and drove away your picture that I should not have done. No, it was not exactly that. It was so odd. She hesitated and turned away her head. Then she looked up into his face again and said, my dream face seemed to blend with yours. I've got chilly bumps. They looked at each other strangely. Do you often make dream pictures? Asked he. Yes, of late, but I sometimes think I should not. Okay, that's why. Because of the many great events that are taking place around us daily, which need our careful thought and consideration, I have been trying to comprehend this great plan of our fathers in regards to us. I have asked Mother, many questions, and she has explained, but I cannot fully understand. Only it all seems so wonderful, and our Father is so good and great and wise. But how could he be otherwise, having himself come up through the school of the eternities? Interesting. Her words were music to Holman's ear. Her voice was soft and sweet. Yet it is very strange to think that we shall forget all we know, and that our memories will fail to recall this world at all. Yes, it is all strange to us, but it cannot be otherwise. You see, if we knew all about what we really are and what our past has been, mortal experiences would not be the test or the school that Father intends it to be. That is true. That is true. But think of being shut out, even in our thoughts, from this world. And then I hear that down on earth there will be much sin and misery, and a power to tempt and lead astray. Oh, if we can but resist it, dear brother. What will this power be, do you know? I have only my thoughts about it. I know nothing for a certainty. But fear not, something will prompt us to the right. And we have this hope that Father Spirit will not forsake us. And above all, our elder brother has been accepted as an offering for all the sins we may do. He will come to us in purity and with power to loose the bands of death. He will bring to us Father's law, whereby we may overcome the world and its sin. You said the bands of death. What is death? Death is simply a losing of our earthly tabernacles for a time. We shall be separated from them, but the promise is that our elder brother will be given power to raise them up again. With them again united, we shall become even as our parents are now, eternal, perfected, celestialized beings. As they conversed, both faces shone with a soft, beautiful light. The joy within was traced on their countenances, and for some time it was too deep for words. Homan was drawn to this beautiful sister. All were pleasing to his eye, but he was unusually attracted to one who took such pleasure in talking about matters nearest his heart. I must be going, said she. May I go with you? Come. They wandered silently among the people, then out through the surrounding gardens, listening to the music. Instinctively, they clung to each other, nor okay, well, I'm confused there. We're just going to have to read the words and see what it says. Listening to the music. Instinctively, comma, they clung to each other, comma, nor bestowed more than a smile or a word on passing brother or sister. What do you think of Lucifer and his plan? Asked she. The talented son of the morning is in danger of being cast out if he persists in his course. As to his plan, it is this: if I cannot rule, I will ruin. And if he rule, it will still be ruin, it seems to me. True, as he is gaining power over many. Yes, he has talked with me. He is a bewitching person. But his fascination has something strange about it which I do not like. I am glad of that. She looked quickly at him, and then they gazed again into each other's eyes. By what name may I call you? He asked. My name is Delsa. Will you tell me where you live? May I come and talk with you again? It will give me much pleasure. Which pleasure will be mutual, said she. They parted at the junction of two paths. Well, here's Roman numeral 2. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? That's Isaiah 14, verse 12. Never before in the experiences of the intelligences of heaven had such dire events been foreshadowed. A crisis was certainly at hand. Lucifer was fast gaining influence among the spirits, and they had their agency to follow whom they would. The revolving spirit had skill in argument, and the light-minded, the discontented, and the rebellious were won over. To be assured eternal glory and power without an effort on their part appealed to them as something to be desired. To be untrammeled with laws, to be free to act at pleasure without jeopardizing their future welfare, certainly was an attractive proposition. The pleasures in the body would be of a nature hitherto unknown. Why not be free to enjoy them? Why this curb on the passion and desires? Hail to Lucifer and his plan. We will follow him. He is in the right. Many of the mighty and noble children of God arrayed themselves on the side of Christ, their elder brother, and waged war against Lucifer's pernicious, I don't know that word, pernicious doctrine. One of the foremost among them was Michael. He was unceasing in his efforts to bring all under the authority of the Father. The plan which had been proposed and which had been accepted by the majority had been evolved from the wisdom of past eternities. It had exalted worlds before. It had been proved wise and just. It was founded on correct principles. By it only could the spiritual creation go on to its evolution to greater and to higher things. It was the will of the Father, to whom they all owed their existence as progressive spiritual organizations. To bow to him was no humiliation. To honor and obey him was their duty. To follow the firstborn, him whom the Father had chosen as mediator, was no more than a father should request. Any other plan would lead to confusion. Thus reasoned the followers of Christ. Then there were others not valiant in either cause, who stood on neutral ground, without strength of character to come out boldly. They aided neither the right nor the wrong. Weak-minded as they were, they could not be trusted, nor could Lucifer win them over. Meanwhile, the earth, rolling in space, evolved from its chaotic state and in time became a fit abode for the higher creations of God. Then the crisis came. The edict went forth that for many of the sons and daughters of God, the first estate was about to end, and that the second would be ushered in. Lucifer had now won over many of the host of heaven. These had failed to keep their first estate. Now there would be a separation. A council was convened, and the leading spirits were summoned. All waited for the outcome in silent awe. Then came the decision, spoken with heavenly authority. Ye valiant and loyal sons and daughters of God, blessed are ye for your righteousness and your faithfulness to God and his cause. Your reward is that ye shall be permitted to dwell on the new earth, and in tabernacles of flesh continue in the eternal course of progress, as has been marked out and explained to you. Then to the still defiant forms of Lucifer and his adherents, this was said: Lucifer, son of the morning, thou hast withdrawn from the Father many of the children of heaven. They have their agency and have chosen to believe thy lies. They have fallen with thee from before the face of God. Thus hast thou used the power given thee. Thou hast said in thy heart, I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will be like the Most High. Thou hast sought to usurp power, to take a kingdom that does not belong to thee. God holds you all as in the hollow of his hand, yet he has not restrained thy agency. He has been patient and long-suffering with you. Rebellious children of heaven, the Father's bosom heaves with sorrow for you, but justice claims its own. Your punishment is that you be cast out of heaven. Bodies of flesh and bones ye shall not have, but ye shall wander without tabernacles over the face of the earth. Ye shall be reserved in everlasting chains under darkness unto the judgment of the great day. Thus went forth the decree of the Almighty, and with it the force of his power. Lucifer and many of the host of heaven were cast down. The whole realm was thrilled with the power of God. The celestial elements were stirred to their depths. Heaven wept over the fallen spirits, and thy cry went out, Lo, lo, he is fallen, even the son of the morning. Maybe I can read some more. There's 9 more pages. It's now starting with the Roman numeral 3. It says, For thou lovest, for thou lovest me before the foundation of the world. And that's John 17, verse 24. All right, I'll read a little more and we'll see how it goes. There was a calm in heaven, like unto that of a summer morning after a night of storm. Throughout the whole strife, the dark clouds of evil had been gathering. In the fierce struggle, the spirits of heaven had been storm-tossed as on 2 contending waves. But when Lucifer and his forces were cast out, the atmosphere became purged of its uncleanness, and a sweet peace brooded over all. Save for sorrow for the lost ones, nothing marred the perfect joy of heaven. All now looked forward to the consummation of that plan, whereby they would become inhabitants of another world, fitted for their school of experience in the flesh. All prepared themselves with this end in view. None was more grateful to his father than Haman. In the midst of the strife, he had done what he could for what he thought was right. All his influence had been used with the wavering ones, and many were those who owed him a debt of gratitude. But his greatest reward was in the peace which dwelt within him, and the joy with which he was greeted by all who knew him. Through it all, Haman's thoughts had often been with the fair sister Delsa, and often he had sought her and talked with her. It pleased him greatly to see the earnestness and energy with which she defended the cause of the Father. He was drawn to her more than to many others who were equally valiant. As he thought of it, its strangeness occurred to him. Why should it be so? He did not know. Delsa was fair. So were all the daughters of God. She had attained to great intelligence. So had thousands of others. Then wherein lay the secret of the power which drew him to her? The vastness of the spiritual world held enough for study, research, and for occupation. None needed to be idle, for there were duties to be performed, as much here as in any other sphere of action. In the Father's house are many mansions. In the one where Delsa lived, she and Haman sat in earnest conversation. Through the opening leading to the garden appeared the stately form of Sardis. Haman sprang to meet him and greeted him joyously. "Welcome, brother Sardis, welcome." Delsa arose. "This is brother Sardis, said Haman, "and this is sister Delsa." "Welcome, brother," she said. "Come and sit with us." Sardis continued Haman, "I thought you lost. I have not met you for a long time." "You remember our last conversation, Sardis. What joy to know that you are on the safe side, that you did not fall with Lucifer." "Shh, that name, dear brother, he tempted me sorely, but I overcame him. But we are shortly to meet him on new ground," continued Haman. "As seducing spirits, he and his followers will still fight against the anointed Son. They will not yield. Not obtaining bodies themselves, they will seek to operate through those of others. Now we know how temptation and sin will come into the world, said Delsa. God grant that we may overcome these dangers again, as we once have done. They conversed for some time, then Sardis departed to perform some duty. I too must go, said Delsa. A company of sisters is soon to leave for Earth, and I am going to say farewell to them. Delsa, you do not go with them. You are not leaving me. No, Homan, my time is not yet. May we not go together? But there, that is as Father wills. He will ordain for the best. There are nations yet to go to the earth, and we shall have our allotted time and place. A group of persons was engaged in earnest conversations when the messenger approached. He raised his hand for silence and then announced, I come from the Father on an errand to you. The company gave him close attention, and he continued, it is pertaining to some of our brothers and sisters who have gone before us into earth life. I shall have to tell you about them so that you may understand. A certain family of earth children has fallen into evil ways, not being very strong for the truth before they left us. Their experience in the other world have not made them stronger. This family, it seems, has become rooted in false doctrine and wrong living, so that those who come to them from us partake of their error and unbelief of the truth. As you know, kinship and environment are powerful agencies in forming character, and it appears that none of the Father's children have so far been able to withstand the tendency to wrong, which is exerted on all who come to this family. The messenger paused and looked around for the listening group. Then he continued, the Father bids me ask if any of you are willing to go in earth life to this family, become kin to those weak-hearted ones for their salvation. There was a long pause, as if all were considering the proposition. The messenger waited. Brother, asked one, is there not danger that he who goes to this mission might himself come under the influence you speak of to such an extent that also would be lost to the good, and thus make a failure of his mission? In the earth life, as here, replied the messenger, all have their agency. It is therefore possible that those who take upon themselves this mission, for there must be two, male and female, to give away to the power of evil, and thus fail in their errand. But consider this, the Father has sent me to you. He knows you, your hearts, your faithfulness, your strength. He knows whom he is asking to go into danger for the sake of saving souls. Yes, friends, the Father knows, and this ought to be enough for you. The listeners bowed their heads as if ashamed of the doubting, fearful thought. They in the stillness one spoke. Then in the stillness one spoke as if to herself, to be a Savior, to share in the work of our Father or our elder brother. Oh, think of it. Then the speaker raised her head quickly. May I go? May I? She questioned eagerly. And I, came from others. Sister, you will do for one, said the messenger to her who had first spoken. And now we need a brother. Yes, you, brother, will do. This to one who was pressing forward, asking to be chosen. Yes, yes, continued the messenger as he smiled his pleasure on the company. I see that the Father knows you all, but faltered the sister who had been chosen. What are we to do? May we not know? Not wholly, was the reply. Do you not remember what you have been taught, that a veil is drawn over the eyes of all who enter mortality, and the memory of this world is taken away? But this I may tell you, that by the power of the spiritual insight and moral strength, you will be able to exert a correcting influence over your brothers and sisters in the flesh, and especially over those of your kin. Then again, when you hear the gospel of our elder brother preached, it will have a familiar sound to you, and you will receive it gladly. Then you will become teachers to your households and a light unto your families. Again, not only to those in the flesh will you minister. Many will have passed from earth life in ignorance of the gospel of salvation when you come. They must have the saving ordinances of the gospel performed for them, so that when they sometime receive the truth, the necessary rites will have been performed. This work also is a part of your mission, to enter into the temples of the Lord, male and female, each for his and her kind, and do this work. A sister, pressing timidly forward near to him, who had been chosen, took his hand and looked pleadingly into the face of the messenger. May not I too go? She asked. I believe I could help a little. The messenger smiled at her, seeing to whose hand she clung. I think so, he said, but we shall see. Ouch. When do we go? Asked the brother. Not yet. Abide the will of the Father, and peace be with you all. He left them in awed silence. That's A-W-E-D. Awed. Awed. I don't know how to say it. He left them in awed silence. Then presently they began to speak to each other of the wonderful things they had heard and the call that had come to some of them. Times and seasons, nations and people had come and gone. Millions of the sons and daughters of God had passed through the earthly school and had gone on to other fields of labor, some with honor. Okay, some with honor, others with dishonor. God's spiritual intelligences in their innumerable graduations were being allotted their times and places. The scheme of things inaugurated by the Father was working out its legitimate results. Holman's time had come for him to leave his spiritual home. He was now to take the step which, though temporarily downward, would secure him a footing by which to climb to greater heights. Delsa was still in her first estate. So also was Sardis. They, with a company, were gathered to bid Holman farewell, and thus they spoke. We do not know, Holman was saying, whether or not we shall meet on the earth. Our places and callings may be far apart, and we may never know or recognize each other until that day when we shall meet again in the mansions of our Father. I am thankful for one thing. I understand that a more opportune time in which to fill our probation has never been known on the earth. The gospel exists there in its fullness, and the time of utter spiritual darkness has gone. The race is strong and can give us sound bodies. Now, if we are worthy, we shall, no doubt, secure a parentage that will give us those powers of mind and body which are needed to successfully combat the powers of evil. It is no new doctrine to them, but they love to dwell upon the glorious theme. We have been taught that we shall get that position to which our preparation here entitles us. Existence is eternal, and it various stages grade naturally into one another, like the different departments of a school. Some have been ordained to certain positions of trust. Father knows us all and understands what we will do. Many of our mighty ones have already gone, and many are yet with us awaiting Father's will. I was once quite impatient. Everything seemed to pass so slowly, I thought, but now I see in it the wisdom of the Father. What confusion would result if too many went to the earth life at once. The experience of those who go before or for our better reception. Sardis said, Holman, I hear that you are taking great delight in music. That is expressing the truth mildly, dear Holman. Lately I can think of nothing else. What is your opinion of a person being so carried away with one subject? Asked one. I was going to say, answered Holman, that I think there is danger in it. Some I know who neglect every other duty except the cultivation of a certain gift. I think we ought to grow into a perfectly rounded character, cultivating all the Father's gifts to us, but not permitting any of them to become an object of worship. Remember, we take with us our various traits, said Delsa. I think, Holman, your view is correct. It is well enough to excel in one thing, but that should not endanger our harmonious development. I have noticed, Delsa, that you are quite an adept at depicting the beautiful in Father's creations. She asked, there is no danger of my becoming a genius in that line. I do not care enough for it, though I do a little of it. Thus they conversed. Then they sang songs. Tunes born of heavenly melody thrilled them. After a time they separated, and Holman would have gone his way alone. But Delsa touched him on the arm. Holman, there is something I wish to tell you, she said. May I walk with you? Instead, I will go with you, he replied. They went on together. I, too, soon am going to Earth, she said. It is true. Yes, Mother has informed me. I have been preparing for some time. Dear Holman, I am so glad. Still, the strange uncertainty casts a peculiar feeling over me. Oh, if we could but be classmates in the future school. Father may order it that way, he replied. He knows our desires, and if they are righteous and for our good, he may see that they are gratified. Is that the word? Yeah. I'm going to read that again. Father may order it that way, he replied. He knows our desires, and if they are righteous and for our good, he may see that they are gratified. Do you go soon? Yes, but not so soon as you. You will go before and prepare a welcome for me. Then I will come. She smiled, but into his face. No, I said that wrong. Then I will come. She smiled up into his face. By faith we see afar, he replied. Yes, we live by faith, she added. Hand in hand they went. They spoke no more, but consumed with each other through a more subtle channel of silence. Celestial melodies rang in their ears, and celestial landscape gladdened their eyes. The peace of God, their Father, was in their hearts. They walked hand in hand, for the last time in this, their first estate. And that's the last of the first part. The next thing in the book says part second. It's a little bit on the different side. But in that first part, there was a 1, 2, and 3. Anyway, we made it that far. That's pretty good, I think. So, it's the last time they talked in that, their first estate, which is when they were in heaven. Then they're going to go down to earth and they're not going to know who each other are. Who they are to each other. Anyway, I'm so glad she gave me that book back. I want to read it. So that's exciting. Yes, my hair needs help. I'll have to get up and take a shower tomorrow. Then I need to not get oil in my hair. But that's okay. Well, let's see. What have we got? Oh my, an hour and 21 minutes. My goodness. Okay. That means it's pretty late. I'm bad. I'm bad in the fact that I didn't get in bed and go to sleep. But you know what? Sometimes I'll lay there and I won't go to sleep. So at least I got something good done. That's what I will say. Yes. Okay. Well, listen, you people. I love you. Take care. Maybe you'll enjoy this book. I can't imagine that I would get in any trouble for reading it. But I am trying my hardest to read it correctly. Okay. So, I'm going to say goodnight. Get my little butt in bed. I'll try to get this posted so it'll be on there in the morning. So, you guys, take care.